It's Ash from Super Videos back for another video. This is gonna be my spoiler-filled review of the new Halloween movie. I will be talking about some spoilers from the film. So if you haven't watched it, then you don't want to watch this because I will be talking about some key plot points that will definitely ruin the movie for you if you watch the review first and then watch the movie. Anyway, let's jump right into this review. So overall, I actually really enjoyed this movie. I thought that it was one of the best sequels of the film they've done, and in a way it had like a modern vibe to it, which I absolutely enjoyed. Looking at the intro, I loved the intro with the mask reveal, sort of a face reveal. It was very intense, it was well crafted, and it was done in a way that was very creative, and it built up the movie in a very cool way. One little problem was that the transition was a little off because they had that and then they had the credits and then they kind of showed the aftermath. But that being said, I absolutely did enjoy that intro. It was very intense and it was a little creepy, to be honest. I felt the movie had a unique feel. It was more of a thriller detective type of movie than a slasher horror movie. Of course, it was still Halloween, so it still had to have that slasher horror aspect, but I feel like there was a lot of things that they did creatively that made it more of a thriller, detective type of movie, which I absolutely enjoyed. Going to Michael's attack at the gas station, that was absolutely vicious. I mean, it was so brutal that it gripped me right away, and the mood just changed very quickly and it got very bloody very fast. So that was very interesting and very exciting to see. But at the same time, the main issue I have was that most of that attack scene was already in the trailer. So it took away from the impact that it had. Of course, the teeth being dropped and the men at the gas station getting killed, that was all partially in the trailer. So it wasn't as impactful as it could have been, but it was absolutely intense and vicious. There was definitely some cliche horror movie scenes and jump scares that this movie had, and you can't really stay away from those. If it's a horror movie, you're gonna have some cliche jump scares and some cliche scenes or events that take place, and I'm definitely not a fan of those types of things. But that being said, the overall jump scares and the horror scenes that they had was not cheaply done. It was actually pretty well done. So that was good to see. But I absolutely loved what they did, which is they actually got us caught up with the story and, you know, how this movie relates to other movies before it in a way that was through dialogue. It wasn't spoon-fed to us, and it wasn't done in a way where we got bored. It was done cleverly, I felt like. Also, the other part that I absolutely loved was how they were building the relationship between the daughter, the granddaughter, and the grandmother. That was all great to see. And also, what they don't really do in a lot of horror movies, which is show the PTSD aspect of a traumatic experience like that. And I felt like they did that pretty well. And aside from the horror aspect of the film, they did spend time building up that post-traumatic stress disorder aspect part of the story as well, which was very great. The other thing, I absolutely loved the comedic scenes. I think it was well done. It was well placed, and it added to the levels of the story and the dimensions of the story, and it was done in a great way. The first one was the kid, the black kid. I thought it was very funny and he just cracked me up. That was great. The boyfriend's chubby friend that got killed, I thought that was great. Of course, they followed that up with a vicious death. I thought the comedic lines and the comedic scenes coming from him were also great. The two cops in the car and their dialogue was absolutely epic. I really enjoyed that. The comedic scenes were done cleverly and they were placed in the right scenes and in the right spots. The other thing, there were also some off-screen kills, which I thought was a great artistic decision because it felt like it was just another day in the life of Michael. You know what I mean? And they definitely did a great job separating some deaths like the ones that we didn't really care about with deaths that we would potentially be impacted by actually showing it. You know what I mean? The deaths that we didn't really care about, they were done off screen, but the deaths that really did have an impact, they did it on screen. But also the deaths were very gory. They were graphic, and that's exactly why it was more realistic for the most part. And it wasn't like PG deaths, like some of the original movie deaths that we've seen, or movies in these types of genres that we see. I also definitely loved the twists in the story. The doctor turning into a killer, I didn't see that coming. I thought that was pretty epic. I absolutely enjoyed that. And in a way, it does kind of throw you off a little bit in terms of what the hell just happened, you know what I mean? But I absolutely loved what they did and how they had that plot twist in there. The other was at the end with the daughter saying, I can't do it. And once Michael walks to the front of the stairwell, she says, I got you, and just shoots him. That was pretty epic. I absolutely did enjoy that and loved that twist. But now we get into some issues. One, Michael got shot like 5 times and it didn't have any effect on him. So that was a bit unrealistic, a little bit. And also he got run over by that car going that speed and it didn't faze him. He just walked like 10 minutes after it. So that was all a little unrealistic. And also the doctor getting kicked in the head by Michael and his skull exploding, that was vicious. That was absolutely graphic and vicious. I did like it. However, the only problem I had with that was that it was a bit unrealistic, because I don't think you could kick that hard to make a skull explode like that. You know what I mean? So a bit unrealistic. But one thing I do want to mention about this is they're complaining about the Negan scene from The Walking Dead when he bashed in Abraham and Glenn's head in being graphic. But come on, this was just as graphic as that. Of course, that was on TV. This was a movie. I understand that. But, you know, they were both equally vicious and graphic, in my opinion. I loved the end of the movie. I thought it was a great climax to the film. But, of course, they had the end be open-ended. It was an open-ended conclusion. And it leaves the door open for future sequels. For example, we didn't see Michael die. He was assumed to be dead, but he died off screen. Or we don't really know he died, you know what I mean? The other is that we never saw the driver that took the survivors away. I'm sure it was just another cop. I'm not saying it was Michael, but they could potentially do something with that as well, because we didn't see who it was. Also, they built the daughter to be maybe the new face of the franchise, along with Michael himself. In future sequels, we could be seeing the daughter being the survivor and trying to fight back Michael after Michael comes back around, maybe. So that's also something that was very interesting. But overall, I did absolutely love the movie. I recommend it to everyone if you haven't watched it. I don't know why you would be watching this review if you haven't watched the film, but I do definitely recommend it, and it's definitely a movie that you should see at least once. I definitely would want to see it once more later, but I absolutely did enjoy it. But I want to know everyone's opinions about this. What did you guys think of the movie, for those of you that watched it? For me, personally, I would probably give it a 8.5 out of 10 ranking. But that's basically my review for the movie. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video. If you like what you see, press like, subscribe for more content, and press the bell button to receive notifications for daily uploads. Like and follow the Facebook page of this channel to join our community, and check out the upload schedule to learn more about daily uploads.